what a CA really does. KG में किसको पता होता है CA क्या करता है? मेरे को full form में नहीं पता था. Like I just knew that when my teacher asks me in school, what do your parents do? I have to say they are CAs. Okay, so I also did my education in bachelor's in finance, CA, CS, CMA, thinking fashion, there is huge potential, this is this, that. By the end of it, I practically, I mean, you've seen what happened of my hair. Like I absolutely, no matter how much I tried liking it, I realized I did not have the passion for it. And I went on a discovery journey of figuring out कि करना क्या है and opportunity क्या है. Which was the reason I actually went to ISB, thinking ये साल placement नहीं चाहिए. I just want to expose myself to maximum people from maximum industries, understand the kind of work they do, so that I do some kind of experimentation and figure out, okay, this is something that I'm liking. Maybe let me try. Hopefully something will stick. शायद पसंद आ जाए. So his answer here is correct, that the first thing that we need to evaluate is what is it that you love? What is it that you absolutely love? Because remember, if there are two people in the same job, in the same industry, the other guy is your competitor, who's going to win? The guy who absolutely loves the job will not look at 12 घंटे, 15 घंटे, 24 घंटे. To them it doesn't seem like work. Okay, so we need to figure that out. First thing, but today is not going to be about figuring out what you love, but I would hope that before you decide on an industry based on everything that we'll discuss today, you would have taken this exercise into consideration. Even if there's a massive opportunity to make money in one particular industry, if you don't like it, you will just not be able to compete. Okay? Second, what is it that you're good at? And when you find an intersection of these two things, typically is what is passion, which is back in school we would say, you know, मेरे को passion है of photography, things like that. You know, very common answers. Why? Because we love taking photographs. Friends compliment us, so you take great pictures. So you're skilled at it, you like it, and it's your passion, but it may not necessarily be your profession or your business. Why? Because there's a third aspect, which is what can you be paid for? And what is it that the world needs? What is it that the world needs? The real job for all of us today, even after whatever industry opportunities I tell you about, is if you would not have done this exercise, this is called the Ikigai framework. If you would not have done this exercise to figure out what is your Ikigai that you really want to do, every other data, every other analysis is pointless. काम वो करो जो मन करे. और आज पता है इंडिया में मतलब ऐसा है कि for the past few months, whenever I figured, more than half of those calls were of people saying कि I put in 50 lakhs in starting a business, I don't know what to do, can you help me, क्या करूं? Someone saying I put in 1 crore or I'm part of a family business, but can you help me, where is there an opportunity? And you know, recently, till very recently, there are people who are from listed entities saying यार सब कुछ चल रहा है. As a second generation entrepreneur, third generation entrepreneur, they just feel like मैं क्या करूं? मेरी contribution ही क्या है इसमें? So actually it's about finding what you love. But okay, that is personal to you. The session today is actually going to be about understanding these aspects. Fundamentally understanding where is the market demand, what are the unsolved problems in the market, what are innate needs of consumers that you can really serve and start making money, where are there arbitrage opportunities, branding opportunities, and industries or markets outside of India where there is a gap that you can go in and fill it. Okay? Now, imagine high margins. They did that for about 5-7 years. Suddenly, Ecuador has also built capability, because what had happened a couple of years ago is there was some kind of disease which came into the shrimp population in India. So all of that produce went bad and they had to restart. By that time, Ecuador picked up. And because Ecuador picked up, it's closer to the US. They could supply it at a cheaper cost because the logistics cost was lower. The time to provide it was lower, which means perishability is also taken care of. Because it became expensive and India could not compete with Ecuador, they've had to provide to Japan. And Japan likes smaller shrimp. Smaller shrimp has smaller margins because it's the bigger shrimp which is premium. नो बड़ा कश्मीर का सेब खाना सब उसके पैसे मिलते. So you see that's and this actually and you know when you have Ladakhi apricots it's so dry जो दिवाली में कई बार मिलते हैं ना. I mean, it's just so dry and hard. And then there are those orange, seedless Turkish apricots, which are soft, sweeter, yeah, which you get at fancy dry fruit shops. Now, actually, it's the Ladakhi apricot which is better in quality, but it's just the processing of it in Turkey that's happening, which is preserving the softness and the color and the taste longer than the Indian counterpart. Now what is happening is for a lot of farmers in Ladakh who are farming apricots, they're just so close to nature that they do not want anyone coming and setting up factories there and spoiling nature for them. It's just how that entire population is, and that's amazing. I mean, not to take anything away from them, but that also means there are so many people who are actually procuring from them and exporting it. If someone could set up a factory just for processing of apricot, look at the price difference. This sells for 157 rupees and that sells for 1091 rupees. It's just a difference of processing. And I figured, I think I was told the plant costs about 50 lakhs or something, 50 lakhs to 1 crore to set up. Not a very big investment if you think about it. No one's doing this in India at the moment. Makhana, we can see, same brand, okay? In India it's 141 rupees for 100 grams. On Amazon, US, 2,240 rupees per 100 grams. It's the same brand. How did I get to know about it? 6 months ago, one of my clients decided to get into the Makhana business. That's when I was doing my research. I was like, shit, this is a crazy opportunity. And I still feel that there aren't enough people who are doing this. But I'll tell you the problem with Makhana in India, procurement. Most procurement happens from Bihar. But closer to Navratras twice a year, the price skyrockets in India. So if you want to get into Makhana trading, you should be able to hold enough inventory for those many months so that even when the price goes up, at that time you don't have to procure from the domestic market. You've already procured enough and you have warehousing capability to store it long enough that it doesn't go bad. And let's make a full list of all those items. That if, for example, you want leather products, which district in India will you get the best quality at the cheapest price? And let that data be available freely so that anyone who wants to enter into exports knows exactly where to procure it from and where to sell it. ODOP. And then different state governments came up with a lot of schemes to promote that good, because then the state government is invested, they want to grow the economy of the state. How do you find out that data? You go to, for example, this is the website odop.mofpi. MOFPI is Ministry of Food Processing Industries. So if you go to this website and you take your the kind of stuff our government is also doing. But I'll tell you, unfortunately, all of this is not marketed enough. Only problem is all of this is not marketed enough. So even when I go and do panels at say Invest India or Startup India, I get to learn of so many schemes from them. And then they tell me, ये तो 3 साल से चल रहा है. ऐसे मेरे को नहीं पता, then I guarantee like 99% wouldn't know because I'm in this business. And they're like, yeah, which is why we need you, why don't you talk about it and stuff. And I say, okay, but where are your marketing budgets to talk about it? But the reason of this entire session is to show you exactly where you can go and find these opportunities. Okay, there's another ODOP UP website, odopup.in. Look at this, alphabetical order, list of all districts of UP and what is unique to them. Agra leather products, Amroha Dholki, I had no idea. Aligarh has locks. Okay? Kanpur is leather products. Atar comes from Kannauj. These are just 2 screenshots. You can keep scrolling, keep opening different districts. You'll find a complete list. Did you know of this? Man, I found this out like 2 weeks ago. I was blown away. I was looking at the kind of rice in India. Because in the categories I only saw basmati rice, and the second category was all rice other than basmati. There was Kala Namak rice. Kala Namak rice actually comes from Siddharth Nagar. Okay, very close to, it's in UP, very close to Nepal. So a lot of it is grown in Nepal and eastern UP. And it is said that back in the day, when Gautam Buddha was traveling from some place in Nepal, possibly Lumbini, to other parts to give his discourse and spread his message, he would pick up to eat whatever he would find, right? And at some point, a group of people came to seek his blessings. And in the form of his blessings, he had to give something. Now the only thing he had was the jungly rice from that place, which has a black chilka. Okay, so the bran is black in color. The grain is actually white, but the bran is black and it tastes slightly different. And it's supposed to be much more nutritious than regular rice. And he gave that rice to people as his blessing, saying that whoever eats this rice will be reminded of me and it has my essence. Which is why it just took off in Buddhism. And it's also called Buddha rice. So the other name for it is Buddha rice. I looked up online in India. 1 kg pack for 400 rupees. Okay? This other brand, Pitama, is selling for about 250, 300, something close to 250, 300 rupees per kilo. This, I looked up on Amazon.com in the US, I couldn't find it. I looked up on Walmart in the US, there is just one provider, 11,600 rupees per kilo.
My goodness.
This is a screenshot from January. That's it. But I'll tell you the problem for this guy. You can provide services when you have more orders, you can hire someone in your team. Highest margin, 80%, 90%, 100% gross margin business depending on your scale and the kind of service you are in. How do you scale a freelancing business? So if today you want to enter into services, remember a lot of people who say that services don't scale are actually not right, because there is a way to scale services. So if you're in services, remember, you start as a freelancer or a small practice. If there are CAs in this house, CA practice, bunch of people, 20, 30, 40, 50 people, then you have to get to one to many, because you are trading your time for money in services. Easiest way, without knowing tech, to get to one to many is education. Whatever you know, you have to teach. So I know there is this one couple from UP. That lady, she loved to cook. She loved cooking. And she said, कि मैं cooking सिखाती हूँ लोगों को online and I'll make money. But then there are so many free videos available on YouTube that why would anyone pay for it? So after a lot of thinking, she said, let me do this. I will sell courses to anyone who wants to start a restaurant or a cloud kitchen, saying I will give you 25 recipes that are absolutely mandatory for you to ace if you are starting a food business in India, and recipes so that you can cook for 100 people in one go and there is consistency every single day.
Lovely.
That is what people are willing to pay for. 60 lakh top line a month. Husband, wife, duo, no team. 60 lakh a month. That's it, just doing this. I can give you so many more examples. And the third is, you build a tech on top of it. So for example, if you're an accountant, if you can build like an accounting tool, a billing tool, some tool that you can take a small ticket size from people. That's building a SaaS business, software as a service, which can keep giving you some kind of subscription revenue. And the easiest way to start is just by starting content on this. Practically, if you're not doing content marketing today, you're just missing out on an opportunity available in the market to grow your brand. Now, among services, what is the best kind of business model? Best business model in services is actually commissions. Because commission businesses purely depend on one skill, which is how many people you know or you can get to know and sell to. And if you transact, you make money. Property dealing, real estate, even investment banking is just a glorified way of saying, someone who makes an investor and a startup meet, exchange of money, you get a percentage. Leanest team 1, 2 member, 3 member team, you can set up an entity and do crores of top line. It takes a few years, of course. So commission business, and so India has about 100 unicorns at the moment. If you were to evaluate what is the most common business model of those 100 unicorns, can you take a guess? Marketplace models. 40% of all unicorns are actually aggregators and marketplace. And what is a marketplace doing? It's earning a commission on making a transaction happen. Which is why, if you can combine commission and tech in your industry, that is the best addition of a vertical in your existing business that you can do. I've just built a financial model for this one person based out of Bangalore who's a contractor. And he said, जब जिसको अर्थ मूवर चाहिए होता है वो फोन करते रहते हैं, उस दिन मिलता नहीं है. जिस दिन क्रेन चाहिए होती है मिलती नहीं है. So he's just onboarding all of these equipment suppliers and contractors on a platform to say at least match this gap. So no matter what industry you're in, if you can combine this and do this, this is amazing. And remember, first time founders obsess over product, second time founders obsess over distribution. You could have the best bloody product in the world, you could be the best service provider of something in the world, but if people don't know you, sale ही नहीं आएगा. कहते ना जंगल में मोर नाचा किसने देखा? If you can't showcase that your product is the best, remember, best distribution always wins. Which is why even when you're branding a commodity and selling it in the market and educating the market, remember 5 years later, when you've educated the market long enough, and HUL will realize इधर ये बंदा पैसा बना रहा है, मैं घुस के अपनी distribution पे इसकी. That's exactly what happens. Which is why if you're entering into educating the market on something and you're not building your personal brand along with it to build online distribution, which is cheaper today to build, you will miss out. That's what Amazon does with Amazon Basics. They look at data on what products are selling the most, they start getting it contract manufactured, put the Amazon Basics logo in it and start selling it. Okay? Now, salary worth from JLN and Colliers saying instead of 10 months spent, I've brought it down to 4 months. For them, it's a no-brainer. That's what he's doing with real estate. And a similar model is coming in everywhere. In accounting, people will say, accountant nahi milta acha, accountant nahi milta. There's an opportunity right here. It's also happening in grade 4 staff, in working staff for factories. In Rudrapur, I know a business which has already started. They've got old machines. They tell people that इधर आओ, हम तुमको training कराएंगे, हम तुम्हारा placement कराएंगे. They're doing this, already started in Rudrapur. So any industry you can get into. Okay? In tech, there is A, B, C, D, E, AI, biotech, crypto and blockchain, drones, robotics, energy and renewables. And according to me, the best industries to get in right now: healthcare, FMCG, infra, real estate, finance and insurance. Just look at the growth rate. If the GDP need 270 orders per day of 1,000 rupees, that's how you make 8 crores. Or you do 10,000 rupee product to 27 people a day, 1 lakh product to 2 or 3 people a day, or a 10 lakh product to 2 people a week. You have to define what ticket price are you aiming at. And I'll tell you where lies the benchmark. If you are a small ticket price, you have to solve it through tech or content. Either tech or content will give you that if you are a small ticket price. If you are a large ticket price, it will be B2B and relationships and export. So this clarity is important. For a lot of people in services, they're doing low ticket, but they don't have tech and content, they're doing B2B. Which is why most doctor practices, CA practices, lawyer practices, even when they evolve, get capped at about 2 crores per partner at best. उससे ऊपर कर नहीं पाते वो. It's because of this problem. This guy, Mr. Percent of the room. This gentleman lives in Agra. Okay? If you Google him online, unfortunately, I'm drying clothes on his terrace. Okay? Unfortunately. But this guy, for the past 20 years, has been building very small products. Like on Gmail. Do you know what is mail merge? Mail merge is you want to send an email to multiple people. But Gmail mail merge में ना attachment possible नहीं होता. In the free version, you have to buy a plugin to do it. He made a plugin for just Gmail mail merge to be sent with an attachment, which has been downloaded 75 lakh times. Each person gives $39 per year, and he's got several such products. He does $14 million of revenue annually. One freelancer. That's 100 crores of revenue. One freelancer who's just sitting making these products, making content about it. Like I remember when Delta 4 problem solution. Does anyone know what's Delta 4? Okay. So you guys remember booking tickets from IRCTC? Yeah?
Yes.
You remember going to railway stations to book tickets?
Yes.
When IRCTC, the website wasn't there?
Yes.
So when you would go to book tickets, you would have to stand in line for, take a day off from work, go stand in line. By the time you get to the window, you're told khatam ho gaya, ab tatkal mein milegi. Then came IRCTC, the website, and someone bought ticket from there. And then when he was asked, can you rate your experience from 0 to 10, 10 being amazing, 0 being worst, on what it was like booking before IRCTC and on IRCTC. Now that he's tasted IRCTC, he says earlier it was a 2 on 10. Now it is an 8 on 10.
Oh.
Even though IRCTC website is horrible. But what he's used to, he's like, man, my life has changed. And what is the delta between 2 and 8? 8 minus 2, 6. So they say that if you're coming up with a new solution for an existing problem, the delta from consumer feedback has to be minimum 4. If it's not 4, in your mind it's an amazing solution, in the consumer's mind it's not. And this is what tech companies do when they launch new products. They take consumer feedback, you're asked to rate what is your experience. It has to be delta 4. If you're not doing it in your business with a new product launch, it's not going to take off. In terms of innate needs, you need to cater to these 7 sins in humans. People want to be lazy. People are lusty. People are hungry. If you can create a product that serves any of these 7 sins or all of them together, that's a killer product that people want. Think of Zomato. It's serving hunger. It's serving being lazy. And I'm sure multiple other things. Now what is a brand? एक वर्ड में अगर बता, identity, perception, it's a very good word, trust, brand is औकात. Always remember this. It's the easiest way to remember that if you're building a brand and it's not giving your consumer status that they want to flaunt it or they can't flaunt it, you will only get commodity margins. So if you say, I make Ashirwad Atta, no matter what ITC thinks, is not a brand, because roti खाते खाते तो कोई बोलेगा नहीं कि मैं आशीर्वाद आटा की खाता हूँ. So you have to remember, if you're building a brand, it has to be built in your product that people can showcase it and it elevates their status. Otherwise, you will get commodity margins. It's just a test. Okay? I'll move on. Other rising trends, we've spoken about infertility, health, education, weight loss, pets. Look at Resha Mandi. You know what is Resha Mandi? International buyers are searching for Indian suppliers. Europages.co.uk is a B2B online website. where foreigners, European companies are searching for vendors. Globalsources.com, another B2B e-commerce company. Goforworldbusiness.com, 4 with a numeral 4. Another B2B e-commerce website where you must be listed to be searched for by buyers in the international market. If you want to sell to Japan, this is a B2C, it is there, Amazon, rakuten.co.jp. Please list here. Zalando is for Germany. Groupon is for the US. Now, this is something that the Indian government has started called Indian Business Portal. Whether they will be able to market it globally or not, we don't know. But 100% register here, because if it takes off in some country and people actually start searching for it, this is where you should be listed. Okay? Now, how do you, so this is very interesting. Before I close, I'm going to tell you about this. 8:30. Why are you running to? If you have a product, is the UA. Yeah, we've established that. Easiest listing for you to do is either better you list on Amazon.ae, you go to Amazon Global Seller and you create a profile. Now the problem most people will face is it will ask for an entity registration number. Now you will need an entity in Dubai to actually list that. How you can avoid that is there is this one company I found out called Stelcore in Mumbai. I'm sure there would be multiple. What they do is they've set up entities in 5-6 countries. They've set up an entity in US, in Canada, in UK, in Australia, in UAE. Now any D2C brand or any consumer brand from India wants to list on Amazon in other countries. You get in touch with Stelcore. Stelcore will give you their entity number. So in your registration, you put in their entity number. When you ship your product to the Amazon warehouse in that country. So you ship it to Amazon UAE and Stelcore takes 1% of the shipment value as their fees. So 1% of the shipment value they take as their fees, and you get to use their entity number to send your products to Amazon UAE without having an entity there, sell it there, distribute it there, Amazon pays you money in your Indian bank account, and this solves for it. What you do need is a VAT number, and what they do is they get an additional VAT number for you in that country. ताकि जो भी आपका VAT GST pay करना है, they pay on your behalf and they charge you money, compliance money just to file your VAT returns in that country. I have tried to search for so many such intermediaries, there are barely any in India. So if someone today can actually enter into this business, this is massive, because D2C brands in India are actually competing with each other on ad spend, performance marketing. Ad ही पूरा margin खाया जा रहा है. And they're like, if we could be the first ones to enter Dubai, US and start selling there, we can still make some margin. That's what companies like Stelcore are doing. So what they do, they take the local VAT registration for you. They get all the product approvals for you. For example, certain licenses, Europe में भेजना है तो CE license चाहिए होता है electronics के लिए, so on and so forth. They do all of this for you. They take 7,000 rupees plus GST to get you a VAT number and 1% of the shipment value. I have absolutely no affiliation to Stelcore, but that's the only example I have. Which is why I feel there's so much of an opportunity for people to enter here and do this. These are the countries they deal with. How else do you find buyers? This is that friend of mine who was entering into the makhana trade. He wrote an email to whom? Muscat, the ambassador of Muscat, Ministry of External Affairs. That's the website. That's the email ID, amb.muscat@mea.gov.in. He said, we are a Delhi-based startup. We want to enter into makhana trade. Can you give us details of all food importers in your country so that we can reach out to them for negotiation? They said, sure. This is the list. They give these many attachments to them. They reached out to the ambassador in whichever country. Go to this website. I clicked on North America. It gives me a list of all the trade chambers in North America that I can write to, saying that do you have any people who would like to buy or import such and such products? They will be very happy to connect you because that's their job. Okay? But never underestimate the power of physical meetings. Of course. So it's best if your capital allows you and you can. please go for trade shows. Please go for trade shows abroad, keep some budget for it because it exposes you for what is happening. If you find an amazing product that you think can work in India, you can speak to them to become the sole selling agent for India. You can literally crack deals. 10times.com gives you a list of all the big trade shows that are coming up around the world across different industries. IndiaTradeFair.com gives you a list of all trade fairs happening in India. TradeFairDates.com, you pick the industry, you pick the month, you pick the country, they'll give you all the trade fair data. You pick and choose, at least go to 2 a year if you want to enter into exports. Because if you're not going, you're not exposing yourself to what is happening in the world. Best practices, the moment you list or buy a pass, not to set up a tent or a stall, buy a pass just as a visitor, go. But the moment you do, ask them, who are the people who set up stalls last year? They will give it to you as marketing collateral. You start reaching out to them that I am coming on these dates at this trade fair, will you be available, would love to showcase my product. You set up that time with them. You set up that appointment, you make an agenda, in din pe, in logon ke saath, appointment fixed hai, pehle se, ek mahina pehle se, that's how you make the most of it. This came out of when my parents were upset that I wasn't finding anyone to get married to. And my wife is probably upset I give this example. And all my friends were not getting married at the moment. You know, I keep this guy was my best friend. I keep asking him, last month, how many girls did you meet? And he's like, पिछले 3 महीने में एक को मिला था. And I was like, listen, if you're meeting 4 girls a year, there is no way you will crack it. Because it's a funnel. You have, and practically, I'm not kidding. You guys know it. Sales, selling yourself in an arranged marriage, selling your product, showcasing your value proposition is a bloody funnel. You have to increase the top of the funnel. More number of meetings you have, think of it in sales. More number of emails, number of cold emails, what is your percentage of conversion to a response?
Yes.
If there is a response, what is the percentage of conversion to you setting up an online call or a follow-up email? Then what is your percentage of you actually sending them some sample or getting to a point of negotiation? You'll realize if you're converting 5% of the total outreach top of the funnel, that's an amazing metric. But that means 19 no's or no responses to 1 yes. And most people, when they do this, they will write to 5 embassies, 7 embassies, 10 embassies and say no response. ये क्या बोला था, कोई तो मेरे को data भेज नहीं रहा है. That guy wrote to 40, 50 embassies and got a response from 5. But the data he's got is so valuable that at least his first order, first buyer, second buyer is becoming a chain reaction. So this information is supposed to be measured on an Excel. How many emails did you send? How many did you get a response to? If your sales team is not building that data, you wouldn't know what part of the funnel you need to optimize on. Do you need to improve on your sales pitch? Do you need to improve the quality of your email? Do you need to improve your rates? Where is the problem? You wouldn't know if this funnel is not there. Indian trade portal, I'll show you something. There is trade tender queries. Do you see that? 5th option, trade tender queries. Go to indiantradeportal.in. Look at this quasi-government website. You go to tender, it gives you list of all countries and all the tenders for import that are open. If you look at this, you can apply for tenders. There is an ease of logistics portal. It will give you details of all the shipping agents who are actually shipping to those countries. They'll give you data of all the CHAs, custom agents, every intermediary you know to ship. Information is available. Our government is giving it. From Indian Trade Portal, when you go to Indian Suppliers, you click Indian Suppliers, it takes you to FIEO.org. You get a list of all the suppliers in a particular category of products. So first thing, you have to be listed here. Please be listed. And if you just want to trade, you will get a supplier, you will see kaunsa buyer hai. And in most cases, it's a function of who can purchase utne capital mein. What business are they into? क्या ये bus bars? Okay, I don't even know what bus bars is. They're into electricity transmission business and उसका product. ये वीडियो क्या है? What are bus bars and bus bar schemes? Single compression versus double compression gland. This guy, Sahil Gandwala, is my friend. Okay, he's got a YouTube channel for this. Look at the banner on the YouTube channel. Look at the banner. I took this a couple of weeks ago. Distribute NEC, Bombay Exhibition Center, Mumbai, 16 to 18 January. See you all at stall H3A5. Because he knows they've got about 10,000 followers. Who will be the people following this content? People from the industry. मेरे को तो कोई interest नहीं है ये देखने का. And he's put it up there. Look at this. 2 lakh views on how to install insulation piercing connectors for AV cables. 2 lakh views. Random people are not watching it. He's got 2 categories of customers. One is foreign companies who need like product or project based solutioning for these electricals. Second is contractors in India who have government tenders. जिनको समझना है ये कैसे करना है. जो भी सर्च करेगा ऑनलाइन कि ये कैसे करना है. Going for gun food. Because this year I was like, I can't miss it. My clients are into rice exports, timber exports. They're just going and I was like, yeah, I have to go. I have to go to see क्या हो रहा है. Representations from 170 countries. 170 countries. It's the largest food related trade fair in the world where people come to show machinery they've built, products they've built, what they're trading in. If you want to take one such product, bring it to India, you want to sell your product, this is the place where you find everyone. 19 to 23rd Feb. If you can make time or if you are in the food industry space, 100% to go. I'm not in that space, but I'm in the business of education. So I have to know what is happening in the world so that I can catch them at the right time. I can advise my clients that this is a good trend, get into it, make money, do all of that. I can't even imagine the amount of insights one would get here. So yes, those games and take those kind of bets are people with capital and network. So I think if you are in this category, I would 100% say, like without naming anyone, I'll tell you one client of mine. He has this farmhouse. He practically knows every minister. You name a minister and he knows it. And he's built that network over the past 20 years. Going to government events, continuously being seen in front of them, trying to get meetings, doing donations at events where politicians are being called, just to get visibility. Once they get some visibility, calls them to his farmhouse. Diwali party, this party, that party, closed room party. There's drinks, there's dinner, and that's when you actually get insights on what is an opportunity. There's only this much I can say in terms of how much is ethical or unethical or don't show your face. Don't show your face. Just show ASMR shots. Do you know ASMR? It's just you can hear the sound, visually it looks appealing. Or just bakery products. Use that, use the ASMR strategy to grow that account without showing your face, your personality. And maybe you can use that to drive leads. So there is a hack for everything, but most people who don't want to show their personality on camera, they typically use some such strategy on content.
But like you say, if you don't see your, if someone doesn't see your face, वो authenticity नहीं
Correct.
है, तो
Correct.
that might be a problem in this world.
Correct, 100%. So you have to get past that threshold, and I'll give you a small hack even for LinkedIn. You know, this is A/B testing. A lot of people who are on LinkedIn, like if I put up a post, how many of you have seen my post on LinkedIn? And more on Instagram. On LinkedIn, when I write a post, I have to accompany it with a picture of myself. And इतनी बार अगर मैं मखानों के बारे में लिख रहा हूँ, मेरे पास नहीं है फोटो यार मखाना खाते हो, तो मैं कुछ ऐसे अपनी स्टूपिड सी कोई हॉलीडे से फोटो डाल दूंगा. Now people will say, what a moron, he's so self-obsessed. He's putting a picture of himself which doesn't even make sense. Is he trying to show off? Okay, but I'll tell you, I've done A/B testing on LinkedIn. If you put the same post without an image and the post with an image, the algorithm pushes a post higher which has media attached to it. Now, I could attach a picture of a very aesthetically pleasing makhana ka bowl and a picture of me eating makhana. If you do A/B testing, when there is your picture, people end up treating it like Facebook and liking it anyway. Even if they like the picture and they're not reading it. What that does is it tells the algorithm, push this to more people. And that gives your content visibility to the right audience, and that's how you get leads. And if you're in services, LinkedIn is one of the best sources for you to get leads for international business, because Instagram pushes your content to a local audience based on the algorithm. But on LinkedIn, if it also could be of benefit to an international audience, a lot of international people are pushed your content on your subject and you start getting leads.
Thank you.
Awesome. One last question.
There are essentially three kinds of decisions. Okay? There is a financing decision, which is कि आज अगर मेरे को पैसा लेना है तो मेरे को कम से कम कॉस्ट पे लेना है. HDFC बैंक मेरे को 9% पे दे रहा है, कोटक मेरे को 8.75 पे दे रहा है, तो मैं उधर से लूंगा. This is a financing decision. The second is an investment decision in finance, कि मेरे को कहाँ पैसा लगाना है. A third decision in finance, these are corporate finance fundamentals, is a divestment decision. मेरे को कहाँ से पैसा निकालना है, क्योंकि पीक पे पहुंच के अब मैच्योरिटी पे जाके डिक्लाइन स्टेज में ये इंडस्ट्री है. So remember, when you look at trends, you have to look at in from the lens of investment decision, कि आज मैं इधर पैसा लगाऊंगा तो मेरे को इतना रिटर्न मिल सकता है. When your business is in a growing industry in the middle, it hasn't matured, you have to focus on financing decision. कहाँ से मेरे को सबसे सस्ता पैसा मिल सकता है. And when it's at maturity, your industry, you have to focus on divestment decision, कि इससे जितना आप surplus निकाल के मैं investment decision में लगा सकता हूँ, I can maximize the cycle. The problem with most family businesses is that because CFOs are not thinking from a lens of investing decision, financing decision, divestment decision based on your industry and कहाँ पे industry है, तो आप वो अपॉर्चुनिटी देखना ही भूल जाते हो. उधर होके लोग डाई होते रहते हैं, they live in denial कि तुम कुछ और क्यों करना चाहते हो. पिछले 30 साल से इसी चीज ने तो तुम्हें पाल के बड़ा करा है, इसी चीज ने तो तुम्हारे सब शौकों के पैसे दिए हैं. भाई, you can't take that emotionally to your heart. And I've seen every family business goes through it, and the biggest fight between the second generation and the generation that started it is the generation that started feels offended कि ये काम क्यों नहीं करना चाहते, क्या तुमसे, is it below you, like तुमको क्यों नहीं मजा आता, इसी चीज के पैसों से तुम पले बड़े हुए हो. ऐसा नहीं है. So I think CFOs need to come in and start taking decisions like professionals.
Thank you. Things that I've heard, these are one or two